pass to Johnson. Johnson still going. Dummies again. Johnson gets it away to Brown. Brown goes in to score. Oh, he's serving it down the touchline. Oh, this is unbelievable. They're going to win it. Oh, what scenes here, what scenes. LeBron James, a shot at history.
How good, we're on, back in Surly Studios, back behind the mic, regular programming, she resumes now. America, unreal trip, of course Vegas with the Waz, LA for a few days, managed to catch 2 Laker games, which I'll touch on more in the old weekly wrap. Then on to Hawaii, feed up, pina colada type of stuff, just getting back into the flow of things before making the flight back home. Got back last Thursday, which unfortunately meant no podcast last week, but it did mean back in time to have bums on seats at Mount Smart. Was in my new section, the Spates Clubhouse, which I'm emceeing for all Warriors home games now. It was an unreal spot to watch the game from, a great atmosphere in amongst the clubhouse as well. So if you want to buy tickets to that and head along to those games in the future, the MC, he's a bit of a punish, but it's the best seats in the house. It's literally the closest you can get to being on the field. And I'll do my best to bring some good chat on the mic too. But you can buy those tickets for the game at Ticketmaster. She's called the Spates Clubhouse. Would love to see you in there. I think this week we've got Dallin Watene-Zalesniak and a few other guests stopping by too for some Q&A. So that's going to be great stuff. But it was good to be back on deck last week at the Fortress. 21,000 fans. The Warriors turned it on. A massive bounce back win, which again we'll touch more on shortly. She's a big pod today. Lots to cover off. Lots of happenings over the last couple of weeks. And thanks to our mates at the TAB, headline sponsor of the pod, I also have a bonus cash code exclusive for the podcast listeners as well. So the code this week is TryTime. Type it in on the TAB app or website. Then place a first try scorer bet on the Warriors vs Roosters game, and if your bet doesn't win, you'll get up to $20 back as bonus cash. That is capped to the first 200 people which claim it. Actually, the first try scorer bet on last week on Tommy Turbo, that cash, so that was big fizz. But don't worry, I had Warriors 13 plus as always, which was huge as well. So get around that code. Again, it's try time. Place a first try scorer bet on the Warriors vs Roosters game. If your bet doesn't win, your player doesn't score first, you'll get your money back in bonus cash up to $20. It's literally a free swing. You can get some lucrative odds too. I'll be jumping on Roger and Dommy Young. It's a couple wicked wingers there just as a bit of insurance. But shout out to the TAB. Really appreciate their support as always, and for also coming up with those codes. A bit of an extra benefit for you for tuning into the pod. As I said before, lots of boxes to tick today, including a great yarn with friend of the show, Finn Allen. He's in some hissing form for the Black Caps at the moment. The Caps running amok in that T20 series up against Pakistan. So let's start with that. Get straight into the yarn with Finn Allen. How good?
How's it?
Good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, well, good, eh? Literally just got back to mine just before, so it's good to be home, eh? Fuck,
busy man, bro. Busy man. I'm actually already recording, so we'll just roll with it. Why not? But, bro, it's been a while since I caught up with you. Obviously, played the Big Bash and whatnot, and now you're back. Is it like a relief to just be back in your own bed, back in your own country?
Yeah, man. Big Bash was obviously good fun and had a pretty mean time over there, but it's always good coming home. And I've had a couple little niggles here and there, but yeah, it's good to be back for sure.
Is it pretty chaotic, bro? Like, obviously, that's the life of a cricketer and a T20 cricketer. But one week I see you on a team sheet for Perth. The next week I see you on a team sheet for Auckland, man. You must be like, what's going on a little bit? Like, is it hard to find your feet in a way?
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky, eh? Like, I've had pretty good groups of boys to play with, and coming back to the Auckland boys is always nice. Like, it's always like home. So I've been pretty fortunate on that front. But yeah, it's certainly a lot of travel, and it's tough on the body at times, and I'm a pretty shit sleeper, so that doesn't help. But no, it's good. Like I said, like I enjoy it. Travel gets a bit much, but always good to be home.
Is the golf game taking a toll, bro? I've seen a few stories you've been out and about, but I can always imagine it's not as much as you'd like to be.
Nah, bro. I haven't been able to play. I got a little like stress reaction type thing in my shin at the moment, so I'm just playing this series in and out of the boot, the moon boot. So yeah, no golf at the moment. The boys are all playing tomorrow, but I've got to sit that one out.
Oh, that's rough. Who's the gun in the team, bro? In this T20 squad anyway, because I know a few of the older boys go good, but
It was good. Seifert's good. Seifert's maybe off. He is like the worst chipper you'll ever see, but if he could chip, he'd be a scratch. But he's probably about a five, I reckon.
yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me. Hey, he's a powerful swinger, man.
He's a little nugget, but he's strong. He's a strong boy.
How was Perth, bro? Obviously, Big Bash. It's a massive league, man. Like, I find myself watching it here, and like the amount of people that message in being like, "Are you watching this game?" It's so popular over this side of the ditch too, but over in Oz, it looks next level.
Oh man, like it's insane, especially Perth. Like I think probably got the best following.
Mm.
Yeah, we had I think the smallest crowd was like high 30s and the biggest was high 40s. So
Yeah.
yeah, filling out the furnace was pretty cool. The boys are pretty chill. Perth's a pretty relaxed place. A lot of beach time. Tried to get a tan on, but wasn't that successful. But yeah, man, it was cool. Like pretty awesome first experience in the Big Bash. A
Mm.
lot of travel, obviously being in Perth, but I had a pretty good time.
What were the Aussie teammates like to get around? Did they get around you? Was there a bit of stick or?
Nah, they're good. I enjoy the Aussie boys.
Mm.
They get a bit of stick for probably how they were back in the day, but the Aussies are pretty good now, and obviously Aussies pretty fun place to tour. So you'll know from going over to Perth yourself, it's a pretty cool place to visit, and to live there 6 weeks was pretty sick.
You dominated headlines, and I was messaging a few of the lads like Steely and that with the whole like the man-cad situation, bro. What was that like? Because all of a sudden, like that was pretty big news. Like it was headlines everywhere.
Yeah, I'm in the headlines for the wrong reasons. No, it was pretty funny. Things get heated out there. I
Mm.
think it was with Jamie Overton, and he's obviously a pretty fiery character, fiery Englishman, and yeah, it got pretty heated. But I tried to let the bat do the talking for most of it, but he was getting pretty stuck in, so I had to have a few words here and there. But that was good fun.
I rate it. But did like grudges like that carry on? Because you see it happen a fair bit now in cricket, eh? Like we had
Yeah.
Coley giving the young Aussie lad the shoulder too. It seems like it happens a bit more. Do people like carry that on, or is it just like flush it, heat of the moment stuff?
Oh, off the field, it's all good. Like I
Mm.
think it'll probably continue on the field.
Yeah.
Play against him next year, probably go at him. But no, it's always like that. I mean, you see it with Seifert in these games and against Pakistan. He's always looking for a little scrap with somebody to get him into it. And oh, he's a beauty. He's so good. He's like yesterday, he's smoking them around the park, and he's just like head around, looking around for someone to spray. No one's looking at him, and no, it's good. It's funny. It's all good.
I was gonna ask about banter in the middle, and in particular, like you in Dunedin, you love that place and you love playing Pakistan there. Like, is there a bit of chat around that once you're starting to hit a few pretty clean? And do you start to get into them shades of last year and bringing back a few memories for them, or do you just like to let the bat do it?
I'm pretty good mates with a few of them. Like played with a couple of the boys in a few teams around the world, so we're pretty matey. We have a giggle out there, but no, it's good fun with Syfe. Like we're obviously both coming pretty hard, and they're obviously coming pretty hard back at us. So it was a good contest, but bro, yesterday was different gravy. Like it was just so much fun, and we just honestly, I was just cracking up the whole time. It was good.
What is it about that place, bro? Because obviously you've had that record knock there, University Oval, so maybe it's the student and the party life in Dunners that really gets you firing. But you seem to just have an unreal track record there, and you always seem so happy when you're playing there.
It's just one of those places, like the ball flies there. It's always a good wicket. We actually played down there a couple of weekends ago for Auckland and lost the final, which
Ooh.
was a bit stink. But nah, it's always good fun. Like as I said, good wicket. We had a pretty good atmosphere down there. Obviously, a lot of students. It was actually a bit flat yesterday, St. Paddy's Day, obviously day before, so
Ooh.
everyone was probably pretty cooked. But no, it's always good fun going down there. We have a good time.
A ground like that, say you're rocking up and you feel a little bit more confident than others where in the past it hasn't gone your way. Like, does that play on your mind, or you're a pretty clean slate? Because I know a lot of people are like superstitious. Say they have a good game at this certain place, all of a sudden it's in their head that they're gun there. You've had some massive knocks and dunners. Do you rock up like almost feeling a little bit more confident than other venues?
I think when you know you've had a bit of success somewhere, you can kind of lean on that and you get a bit of confidence from it. But
Mm.
like I suppose because it's the same team, similar bowling attack, everything's kind of the same in a way. But you still got to start again and do it again. In a way, it almost creates pressure. We're off for rain, and they were playing the highlights of the game last year, and I was a bit like, oh shit, kind of need
Yeah.
to do that again. But nah, yeah, you know, if you have success anywhere, you go into that place feeling more confident than others. Yeah.
No, three sixes in the first over. And there's that saying like that when you're locked in, you see it like a beach ball. I batted 11th, didn't bowl in my junior career, so I was never locked in. I never saw the beach ball. But for you, is that actually what it's like? Like once you're in the zone and you're hitting them out the middle, does everything just become a bit easier?
Yeah, definitely. I think that first over was just one of those situations. Like, I think I've changed my mindset quite a bit. You know, I used to probably how Seifert's going now, just look to
Mm.
swing my ring off and, go as hard as you can. But I guess now trying to have a little bit more technical nous and a bit more batsmanship. But yesterday I was just reacting and got a few balls in my areas, and one of them got pretty lucky. I think I literally hit one straight up and the wind took it all the way. So but yeah, and then I guess there was probably that one over where that left arm where I was seeing it quite well and wanted to take him down. He ended up getting me out, which was a bit of a blow up afterwards. But no, it was yeah. I suppose you do see it better, and I wouldn't say I've ever seen it like a beach ball. You'd have to talk to Kane about that probably
Yeah.
to hear what that's like. But no, you definitely see it better as you go on.
I was going to ask about because even just watching from the couch, it does look like you've changed your mindset around it, especially in that first T20. It was quite
Mm.
obvious. You're picking your shots. You're quite happy for Seifert to go at it. And then once he went out, you kind of went at it. Is that a convo you guys have before you go out, or is it more adjust in the middle and see who's got the hot hand? And what I guess has brought that change in mindset on for you?
I guess it is a bit of like who's got the hot hand. I know Saif's definitely not looking to rotate the strike. So I guess for me it's kind of nice in a way because if I get one in my area, then I can go all in, and then if I don't, I can kind of get one and let him do it, as opposed to I don't know, with kind of Dev in the past. It's just a different partnership, and both are awesome to be in and good fun. They just for different reasons, I guess. And Dev's really good at rotating and giving me the strike and letting me go. And I guess I'm trying to do that for Saif when he's going, and then also play the aggressor myself. But yeah, I think for me it's just around the consistency piece. And I don't know, I guess I kind of got to the stage where I felt like I was maybe wasting talent a little bit by just throwing away all the time. And I guess the constant failure and feeling like I can do more just kind of was eating away at me. And I just wanted to kind of put a change to that and figure out a way that I can still strike high and have that X factor, which is, I guess, got me to where I am now, but also do that on a more regular basis, and instead of trying to hit every ball for six, giving myself a chance to get in and start seeing it like a beach ball before I go and kind of earning the right, I guess. And there's little few technical things, but I guess it's just playing more. You learn those things, playing overseas, exposed to different players and playing with different guys. You learn a lot more, and I learned definitely about that in Perth and how I can be more consistent. And I probably wasn't consistent for Perth, but just little things that you pick up along the way that help. And I guess having a bit of time off the park with injuries, you got time to reflect and all that. So yeah, it's just little things that I'm trying to keep getting better at.
You mentioned a few different opening partners there. I've always wondered, like, playing all these different comps and in these different teams, you have differing opening partnerships all the time. How big of an adjustment is that? Because it's obviously a team game, but it's pretty individual as well. Is it more just about rocking up and doing your job regardless, or does it matter who you're betting with? Like, can that adjust how comfortable you feel, how confident you feel?
Yeah, I suppose once you've got a bit of a groove with somebody, like me and Dev have batted together so many times over the years that like we just know how each other tick and how to get the best out of each other. And I guess with Saif, him and I are like such good friends that we're just having a great time, and it's just like a bit of a laugh, and we're both going pretty hard, but also understand each other's games quite well. And then you go overseas, and I guess that's where it becomes important. Like, you stick to your own processes, but you kind of learn how the other person goes, your partner, what makes them tick, and I guess what they need from you to kind of stay in the fight. And that's part of the fun, I guess, is batting with new people it goes through the team. You know, some games you might be the fifth one to get out, and you've batted with 4 or 5 new guys, and I guess you got to learn on the go how they tick and what you can do to help them. And some games or some tournaments you're the first one out 3 or 4 games in a row, and you've got nothing to do. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's definitely difficult. I guess you're constantly adapting to new partners, but I've been fortunate, I guess, to play for a lot of the same teams over the years, so stick with most of the same guys.
How hard is it mentally, bro? Say you're on a run of like a couple frustrating innings. How hard is it mentally to just stay locked in and I guess try and make that next innings the one where you score some runs? Because I can imagine like internally there's pressure, externally there's pressure as well.
Mm.
Do you have like a few type of things that you like to do to keep yourself locked in, or are you just take each innings as they come type of thing? Because I can imagine the pressure mounts up after a while.
Yeah, especially Perth. I think that was probably the hardest time for me. Mentally challenging, like, first 4 games, not scoring any runs. And I guess, it's your first time playing for the team. I took a bit of a risk, not taking a contract and going over there. And I guess you've just got to, with T20 cricket, it's so fickle and you've got to take game by game and certainly loads of factors, the way that Adam Voges and the boys in the group were with me, the constant backing and, making me reassured that it will come and that I'm doing the right things. And then just for myself, like I know if I'm doing my prep right and I'm doing everything I can at training to be best prepared for the game, then sometimes execution just doesn't come off in the game, or sometimes you get a good ball or whatever, but as long as I know I'm preparing well, and I guess during that period, yeah, the runs weren't coming, but I felt like I was preparing really well and seeing the ball well, and it was just a matter of time. And had a couple games there where it clicked, and I guess showed a little bit of what I had in the locker. And I guess you always try and think that good players don't stay down for too long. But yeah, it all just comes down to prep, but especially when you're away from home, it can be pretty challenging. If you're in India or subcontinent and stuff, it can be pretty lonely sometimes, especially if you're not scoring runs. So
Yeah,
um, yeah, it's
100%.
definitely having good
100%.
support network.
Does being like an import, I guess, add extra pressure to that? Like, do you feel it more from the local players and things like that, like a bit of a pressure to score runs, or is that just all part of it?
I think it depends. Like I know when I was say it all depends on where you are in your bracket, I reckon. Like, obviously, the more you get paid, the more expectation there is for you to do well. And I don't know, it's probably not looked like that from the locals and stuff. But I guess as a player, if you're picked as your platinum player, you're kind of you're expected to do well, and you're expecting yourself to do well because you're the kind of perceived to be the main guy. I mean, that was the beautiful thing about Perth, was that I wasn't necessarily seen as the main guy. They had 15 blokes in that squad that were all as good as each other in their own right. So I guess there was no like, oh, we're relying on you here. Like, we were winning when I wasn't scoring runs, and that was nice for me, because I guess you don't feel like you have to be the main contributor all the time. You obviously want to be, but I guess like guys in the IPL and stuff getting paid millions would have these huge expectations that they've got to do well more often than not, and I guess it just creates that added pressure sometimes. And I know, talking to guys about it in the past, you certainly feel that, and it definitely takes its toll on you for sure.
You guys seem like a happy bunch at the moment, and I guess Black Caps' recent results play a big factor into that, right? Like New Zealand cricket's doing really well at the moment. For you personally, like the T20 calendar, it's pretty jam packed. How happy are you to be wearing the Black Caps jersey again?
Yeah, man, it's cool, eh? Like, obviously a little bit uncertain there for a period, and I guess the game's kind of changing into this sort of leagues and international cricket, and understanding where it all sits with each other. But yeah, it's always mean to be back playing for New Zealand and back at home as well, especially playing in front of a home crowd. Always that makes it that much better. Game on Friday at Eden Park should be a cracker. I know Steely and a few of the boys coming down,
Hey,
which will be nice.
look out, look out.
But yeah, like, it's always good to be back playing for New Zealand. It's always the number one passion, and you're always passionate playing any game of cricket. But when it's for your country, it's always just means that little bit more. So it's good.
Sounds like a dangerous night to be at Hoppers post game then, because that crew you mentioned just then's pretty bad. But like you said, Friday night, Eden Park, bro, small boundaries, big crowd. what, 7 p.m., like that prime time slot, your home ground as well. Does that bring like an extra element of excitement? Is that one you circle on the calendar and you're like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one?
Yeah, bro. Eden Park's carnage, eh? Like every game there is always exciting, and especially T20. There's always stuff going on, balls flying everywhere, and it's a pretty tough place to be a bowler. And I guess high expectations as a batter. So hopefully it's a cracker. We had a good game against them last year there, so hopefully you can hear the boys cheering on in the crowd, and we can have a good one.
Obviously got this series at the moment. Then there's a one-day series against Pakistan after that. Do you know what your year kind of looks like, or does it all just kind of piece together as the year progresses?
Yeah, well, haven't heard about the ODI squad yet. But after that, I've got the Pakistan Super League, and then so I'll be seeing a lot of these boys again. And then yeah, from there I got the MLC being retained with San Francisco again, which is cool. And then I go from there to England to play for the Southern Brave again in the 100. So pretty busy.
Yeah.
There's chat of maybe a European tournament starting up in between America and the 100. So yeah, bro, there's plenty on and a lot of travel. So yeah, I'm lapping up the time at home at the moment. But yeah, it's always pretty busy, and I guess nice to at least be able to plan out my year and maybe sneak in a little European holiday in there somewhere.
Yeah. Is it tough, like a bit of a culture shock? Like you just mentioned there, playing in Pakistan, then all these other leagues, you're in Europe and things like that. Like it's a pretty big adjustment, and you have to live there as well, which these countries are quite different to your day-to-day life in New Zealand, even just diet and food and the language and all that. Is it tough to adjust?
Yeah, it's probably the food that's the hardest thing. I think I've struggled heaps with diet and stuff like that in the past, and going to Pakistan is definitely different to back here, and don't handle spice too well. So there's always that.
Oh,
But
no.
yeah, no, so that's no good. But take a few spare pair of undies and we'll be fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's you just get used to it. I guess been to Pakistan a few times now, and
Mm.
then head off to America. And I guess that's the beauty of being retained by the same teams for a few years now, is you know what to expect, and I guess you kind of yeah, you're familiar with the areas and stuff like that. But it's definitely difficult. Yeah, you're going from time zone to time zone, and the constant travel and the toll on your body, and every warm up. Just I'm only 25, and it feels like every warm up's getting harder and harder. But yeah, so nah, I mean, you get used to it for sure, but it definitely makes you appreciate being home a bit more.
Finally, bro, the Black Caps posted a video of you, and you mentioned you've been working on your
Here we
batting
go.
and your batting approach. But one thing you clearly haven't been working on is your drop kick technique. Because I know the lads, they get the ball out, right? As a game day, you're having a bit of a muck around out in the middle there, and you were snapped with an attempted drop kick, which looked like it had more shin than foot into it, mate. Well, what have you got to say for yourself? Because I know you like your footy, you like your rugby, and you like your league. So I kind of expected a little bit more from you. You're an athletic bloke, I thought you'd hit them pretty sweet, but that was abysmal.
Yeah, there's a bit of background which probably needs to be there's context. It's a new game called Donny's Ball, which our trainer Chris Donaldson, I think he's come up with. They've obviously been playing it the last few months. I haven't obviously been around, but there's essentially three squares that you've got to try and kick this ball into. So I'm just trying to slot in a little droppy there. Pretty unsuccessful. Yeah, a lot of shin involved. But yeah, there's a work on. I have to get Shooter to take me down to
Oh, don't bother
college
with him,
rifles or
mate. Don't
something.
bother with him, mate. Don't bother. He's probably worse, mate. He lost a kicking comp with me and Willie Wairua, so, mate,
Oh yeah, that's
no
tough.
good, no good. But that makes it make more sense now. You were just trying to guide it through because your social
Yeah, good
media guy
slot.
stitched you up.
Oh yeah, he's new. He's new. So nah, he's not new. He's been there for about 10 years, but he should know better.
Well, in terms of like today is this day off, massage, like what does a week look like when you're in the middle of a series? Because there's like 2 or 3 days between games. Are you pretty chill now? Like, do you have much practice time, or is it just recover and get ready to go again?
Yeah, I think well for me it's pretty chill. So I've been nursing the moon boot for the series. So bro, I'm just chilling today. Travel day is always kind of a chill one. Have a massage. So I'll head around to the team hotel and yeah, get a massage and do some recovery and stuff. And then tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow's day off as well. Most of the boys are playing golf. I'll just be chilling and just getting ready for Friday. But yeah, we keep it pretty chill. When you're in series, like we're playing 5 games in pretty quick succession, and So the boys are pretty sore and pretty tired. So yeah, we just try and rest up as much as we can. We're
Oh,
pretty high maintenance.
oh, I can imagine, bro. From the stories you've told me, it sounds extremely high maintenance. You're always getting massages or there's something not quite right. You're a delicate bunch for sure. But appreciate the time, bro. Obviously, it's been a while since we've caught up. So awesome to have a little yarn. All the best for the rest of the series and hopefully another big shift Friday night at Eden Park.
Yo, cheers, bro. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you.
NRL redemption round, of course, bounce back week, especially 3 huge results that, looking at the betting odds, didn't really seem that likely. Panthers with one of the great bed shits going down to the Roosters, one of their biggest bounce back wins and upsets in their proud history. Then, of course, we had the Raiders, the Green Machine, Ricky Stewart's lads getting the win over the Broncos, making our loss in Vegas look a little bit better as well. And then the mighty Warriors, who, if you're a real one like myself, you had Warriors 13 plus just in case the lads did show up and get the job done, and they certainly did that. 36 points to 6 against the high-flying Eagles, who lead up during the week. No one was giving us a chance in the media, but the boys turned it on in front of a good crowd at the Fortress to get the dub. Of course, before that, Thursday night footy saw the Knights get the win, 26 points to 12 over the Dolphins. Worrying signs for the Finns. 2 losses on the trot, and they failed to throw any shots in both games. They look pretty piss poor, and if they suffer another loss this weekend, they will be a genuine wooden spoon contender. They're continuing that trend. The side's looking pretty dusty once Wayne Bennett leaves them. Christian Wolf, he's a good coach, so I don't think it's fair to lump it all on him. But man, they're just struggling on attack for some creativity. They're throwing no shots at the moment. The Knights, on the other hand, though, using KP in that 7 type of role once they get into the red zone, they're looking great on attack. He's been putting on a clinic. And then with Fletcher Sharp in the 6 jersey, they've been looking bloody dangerous. Some big injuries for them this week, so I'm keen to see how they go. But looking pretty sharp at the moment. I had them down the bottom of the ladder. If they can keep this up and KP can stay healthy and in Origin-like form, then they could be in and around the 8 come the end of the season. Panthers 32, Roosters 38. Well done to the Chooks after they got pumped the week before. 50 points put on them by the Broncos. They were a team I had finishing in the bottom 4 this year, and I still don't think that's fully out of the question, but shit did they show up in this game after being embarrassed. No doubt Robbo laid down the law, and I didn't see this result coming at all. I think at one stage they were paying $11. It was the highest odds they'd been in a game since around 2005. Panthers, of course, 4-time champs, hot to trot, look bloody good in Vegas. Only really missing Isaiah Papali'i from the team that got the win over the Sharks over there too. Expected one-way traffic. It wasn't to be. Roosters, well done to them. Huge lift from them. They've still got some great attacking threats in their side too, particularly out wide. Mark Nawanga-Netawasi looking every bit the real deal. Rob Toya in the other centre looking sharp as well. I thought Daniel Tupou was exceptional. That try saver he made on Brian To'o late to secure the win was huge. And then, of course, guys like Teddy, Dom Young, always a threat. Connor Watson in the middle, massive for my fantasy too. For the Panthers, probably their worst performance in the last 5 or 6 years. So many errors. It's rare to see them miss that many tackles too. I certainly think it's a bit of a blimp on the radar for them. I expect them to bounce back and put in a much better performance this week. At the same time, though, taking on the Storm, and I saw a stat, they've only lost back-to-back games once in the last 56 games. That's pretty crazy. They're a genuine chance to do that this week. Of course, no Dylan Edwards as well, so that'll be a bloody interesting watch. The Bunnies, big win for them on the road against the Dragons. No doubt Flanagan will be fuming at that performance. Dragons 0-2, but I do think they've looked pretty decent. Good to see Christian Tuipulotu again celebrating his tries. Over-the-top celebrations despite being down. You love to see it. Rabbitohs, Jai Gray going great at fullback. Humphreys, biceps of doom, and fucking he kick a stead in as well. A smart, eyes-up footy play with that field goal to secure them the dub, and he's running a great cutter at the moment. His combo with Cody Walker has been really good, and if you invested in him in your fantasy, then you're also reaping the rewards. Sharks, Pump the Cowboys, worrying signs for the Cows now. They've conceded 78 points in their last 2 weeks. Leaky sieve. A lot of people expected them to bounce back at home too, but again, they just dished up a shit performance. And at 12, it's almost a bit generous to them. The Sharkies missed multiple opportunities to pile on more points too, so worrying signs for the lads in Townsville. And I tell you what, if Toddy Payton doesn't pick up a win in the next few weeks, then there'll be people starting to question whether he's the right man to lead them to glory as well. Raiders, Ricky Stewart's boys got up 32-22 over the Bronx. A bit of a bring back down to earth performance for Madge's lads, who were flying high and looking unreal in round one, but they made the tough trip to Canberra. Never easy to go there and take on the Green Machine. Despite them not having Joseph Tapine, you just know Ricky Stewart's going to have them up and about. Their full pack again was on. Fogarty with another clinic as well, and they get the dub. I don't think it's panic stations for the Bronx, though. In a way, I think this loss was the best possible outcome. It gives Madge an opportunity to just rip into them, iron out any complacency, keep those hot boys level-headed, and fire them back up for a big performance this week. Eels, wooden spoon city for them. They are really struggling. 88 points now they have conceded in their opening 2 weeks. Their defense, it's almost just non-existent, and they look all at sea. Another team struggling to fire any shots, and there's been a lot of chat around, don't worry, they'll be much improved once Mitchy Moses comes back, but it looks like he's going to be out for even longer than expected. They were hoping to get him back for round 5 or 6. Looks like it's going to be more around the 9 to 10 mark. He's saying he's not getting a lot of blood flow to the injury at the moment due to it being his ankle. Tough place to get blood flow too, so they reckon he'd be further delayed. And in all honesty, if you're Mitchy Moses watching this sitting back, you're not in any fucking hurry to get back either. Dylan Brown, disappointing performance for him again, back-to-back weeks off the back of signing that massive contract. A lot of eyeballs on him. It's not his fault. A team offered him 1.4 million a year for 10 years. You're fucking stupid if you're not signing that, but of course, that media attention does bring you more scrutiny, so he'll be looking for a big performance. Incredible Volk, unfortunately, tough for him in the 7 jersey too. Junior Bolo, the stand-in skipper, he's been a bit of a pedestrian as well, so lots of problems for Jason Riles early doors, and it looks like wins are going to be few and far between for Parramatta this season. For the West Tigers, no doubt Benji Marshall fizzed. Their first look with their big spine all in action at once. I thought Jareem Buller was outstanding. That counter-attack that he sparked for a great try, length of the field stuff, that was unreal. I thought Api Karasau was at his menacing best around the rucks. Lower minutes, but in De Silva, they have a great option there to give him a spell as well. Lockie Galvin up to his usual best as well. And then Jerome Luai. The most important thing for me, the most pleasing thing for Tigers fans, I still think Luai's operating at about a 6 or 7 out of 10. He's not playing his best code, still just finding his feet amongst this Tigers system, so there's certainly some room for improvement from their halves combo. And then with Taruva and Skelton, 2 great pickups as well. Those 2 lads scoring tries for fun at the moment, so positive signs for the West Tigers. And then the Doggies, 40 points to 24 over the Titans at Belmore. Strong shift from the Dogs. It did come at a cost. No Viliami Kickout or Matty Burden for the next 4 to 6-ish weeks. Burden's MCL not as bad as Kicks, so that is a positive, and it could be a lot worse. ACL always the biggest fear, but a good win for the Dogs. 2 from 2 for them. They're looking sharp. I will say, though, Bulldogs fans, massive offside for me. The way they celebrated this round 2 victory was almost like they'd won themselves a premiership. Parades, DJs, mobile DJs and shopping trolleys, shutting down streets, singing "Who Let the Dogs Out." There was some bloke, he was scat as in a dog chain, like growling as if he's a bulldog himself. That was one of the most scat things I've ever seen. But Doggies fans, absolutely celebrate your victories, but I think just bring it down a peg, because it's round 2 against the Titans. Yes, it's a great win, but please just put it into perspective. We're a long way away from finals footy at the moment. Enjoy that your team is going well, but perhaps just tone it down a peg. And then, of course, the main game for the week, left it to last. Warriors 36 A great win at home, a place where we didn't rack up a lot of wins last year, so it's good to see us get an early dub there this year. 1 from 1, you got to love that. Positives for me, I thought our attacking shape was a lot more direct. We had halves dropping people under, forwards dominating the middle, which created quick ruck speed and allowed the CEO of ruck manipulation, Wade Egan, to go about his work and turn on a masterclass. When we get dominant carries, quick play the balls, he does his best work around the ruck with his running game, and his ball playing has to be one of the best in the comp. The amount of playmaking pressure he takes off our halves is massive too, of course. Had a try as well, of course, but played a hand in so many of our points. And he's just devastating when we get a roll on. Unreal in D2, 41 tackles, just 2 misses. Made 51 in Vegas for 2 misses as well. I feel like it's such an underrated aspect of his game. 92 tackles, 4 missed over 2 games. That is elite shit. Your next standout, Lukey Metcalf, I mentioned before, that straightening on attack, just dropping players under, 2 try assists and a try through a beautiful pass for Ali in particular, and then that try celebration right at the end there. That was the final nail in the coffin, and that's one of the coldest sallies I've ever seen. The old shush to the haters while blocking out the noise. I was amazed at how many people jumped on board after round 1 saying he's not our guy, after saying he was our guy throughout the whole of preseason. Rugby league fans and Warriors fans in particular can be so fickle. Luke Metcalf is 100% our guy. My big prediction at the start of the year was that he'll be our Simon Mannering medalist and that he could go close to an origin spot as well as being a top 5 ranked halfback come the end of the year, and I stand by that. Yes, he's still got aspects of his game that he's going to want to work on, but I reckon when he gets that balance of running plus ball playing, kicking game all right, he can be deadly. And if you asked him, I reckon that was probably still a 7 or 8 out of 10 in terms of where he wants to be eventually and where Webby wants him to be. So still things to work on. But to see him bounce back like that was exceptional. 6 from 6 off the boot as well. A perfect night. You got to love to see that. Another big standout for me, the increased minutes from Fish and Barney in the rotation as well. When Fish came off, Barney was on, and vice versa. I think a lot of people were scratching their heads in Vegas around our middle rotation, and in particular, those 2 lads. Fish, 58 minutes in this game compared to 46 in Vegas, went for 130 metres, made a tied team high 18 hit-ups, 40 tackles, just the 1 miss. Then you had Barney with 62 minutes compared to 51 in Vegas, ran for 120 metres, 33 tackles, just the 1 miss there as well. Those 2 are scary as fuck. And pre-game, we had that Tohu Harris Hoy passing over, which was one of the best pre-game runouts I've ever seen. Those 2 walking out together is scary stuff. They truly are elite Bash brothers enforcers. They want to take teams' heads off, and their work rate on both sides of the ball, it's real follow me type of stuff, as is the work of Aaron Clark. And I claimed in the preseason too that he would be one of the most undervalued signings of the whole year. I was singing his praises, and it's a performance like this where he gets a start compared to Vegas where he was off the bench, and he just does the tough stuff. 150 metres in 45 minutes, 22 tackles, 18 carries, tied team high with Fish. And he just does a lot of the cleanup work. He's hearty, and he's not always going to perform at this level too. But the attitude, like there's a few times there the play breaks down. He just gets given a bit of a hospital ball, and he's more than happy to just clean it up, take the tackle, take the contact so that we can restart our set. I was really impressed with Aaron Clark and the performance he pounded out. Taintuo Piki again, punching well above his weight. I love the speed of our wingers. Their fast feet, running back against the grain. We saw Tain score like that too. When you get a guy like that who's so agile, so nimble, moving them, bringing them back against the flow against bigger bodies, they're so hard to stop. He made a try out of nothing there. And then Roger didn't beat as many defenders, cut back in and beat a couple, but both of them, their footwork against D that's rushing up, trying to apply pressure after a breakdown in play, it's so undervalued. And Tain's work just on his yardage carries, He's so good. It's going to be interesting, man. When Dallin comes back, I feel like Tane now is justified that he needs to be in this team every week off the back of his form at the back end of last year and now the start of this year. It's a great problem to have for Webby, but it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. I thought our effort on D was great too. Our line speed and our work rate, never giving up on the tackle until it was complete. Offloads killed us against the Raiders, and the lads look certain to not let that happen again. Yes, there's still some work to do, in particular on that edge with Pompey and Rog. That looks like a communication and perhaps a confidence thing going on out there, and no doubt they're trying to iron out those kinks at the moment. But look, I thought it was a massively improved effort defensively, and we forced Manly into a lot of errors too. I think that try they scored early was probably the best thing that could happen for us too. Early shift to their deadly right edge, Hamole, DCE, Turbo, Saab, all combining. After that, I think they just thought it was going to be easy. They wanted to shift all the time early in sets instead of trying to dominate the middle and lay a platform, and I reckon that played into our favour because they butchered multiple tries, just trying to force things when perhaps they weren't on, which worked out great for the Warriors. When you look at the stats, it's not hard to see how we won the game too. A 91% completion rate compared to 72 from Manly. 16 missed tackles compared to their 39. Only 6 errors compared to their 12. 1 ruck infringement compared to their 7. We won the offload count 7-3. We won the kick meter battle against the DCE-led team. And yes, he didn't play 80 minutes, but still up against the people's neck, the giraffe. If you can outkick a team with DCE on the halves, regardless of minutes, then you're doing bloody well. We also overcame 2 dodgy-ish tries that were allowed, but we were still good enough to strike back straight away and not let it hurt us. That Saab and the Garrick back happened right in front of me in the Spates Clubhouse. Great zone to watch the game from. If you're keen in the future, yes, it's marketed as a corporate area, but tickets are up on Ticketmaster. You can buy them. It's a bloody good spot to watch the game. You're literally on the back fence. You hear and feel the contact. You get to watch the players' movements. You can hear them communicating, and you can see plays unfold right in front of your eyes. Plus, you get to see guys score tries right in front of you too, which is a heck of a buzz. The Warriors first half, 3 right in front of us. The place was absolutely rocking, but those 2 Manly tries were scored from right in front of me. I thought the Saab one was a knock-on. Watching on reflection in the replays, I can see certain angles where it justified maybe giving it, but still, man, that looked like a clean knock-on to me. The second one, the Garrick one, I certainly thought no try. I thought white boots on a white line worked in his favour there, and then I also think they didn't look at where DCE caught the ball enough too, because I reckon that he was bloody close to having his foot dead as well. But hey, they award it again. The bunker, the ref is doing a number on us. But the most pleasing thing for me, in years gone by, that's a momentum changer. We get our heads down, we start to drop our collar, and things don't go our way for the rest of the game. Instead, off the back of that Saab try, I think we scored in the next 5 minutes. And then off the back of the DCE's try, we were still next to score points too, which is extremely positive, and it's a reflection of the improved leadership amongst this group as well. So huge scenes there for the Warriors. Some real standout performances all across the park. I thought Ali was great too. You could go through half the team and name them. So well done to the boys. A great bounce back win at home. And shit, did we need it to. Really does lay the platform for us now to just kick on from here. Hopefully, really keep the momentum rolling. 2 from 2 at home to start the season would be massive scenes before I think we head over to the Tigers next week. So let's hope we can bank this one up against the Roosters. So on to this week's footy we go. Round 3 gets underway tonight with an absolute barnstormer. 2 of the premiership big dogs. You got the Panthers, tail between their legs, licking their wounds, up against the Melbourne Storm, fresh off a bye. Write a better script. Of course, unfortunately, no Dylan Edwards for the Panthers, who is going to be a massive loss. Melbourne at Melbourne. We'll get into it more in the punting section, but there's some stats there that suggest that they are going to be too good. I think they've won 8 of their last 9 games against the Panthers too. So personally, I'm thinking the Storm. No Warbrick for them, but in Grant Anderson, they have a more than capable replacement. Jerome Hughes is 150th as well, milestone game. I saw a chat from him too saying that they're keen to prove a point and test themselves against the 4-time premiers, so they'll be up and about for this one. I'll tip in the Storm there. Warriors versus Roosters, unchanged 17 for us, with Webby rolling out the same team. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Unfortunately, no Sam Healy on the extended remu this week. Hurt his shoulder, I believe, in that New South Wales Cup game last week, but they're saying it's not a long-term injury, so that is a positive for sure. Chan still at the back. Tane and Rog on the wings, Ali and Wets in the centres. Interesting to see Rocco Berry named on an extended. He was unreal in New South Wales Cup last week. Looks like he's put on a bit of size, and that seems to be shining through in his attacking performances at the moment. Old bootlace Berry, that's what I call him. He just chops people around the laces all game, but if his attack can match his defense as well, he's going to be an unreal asset to have at centre, and he's inching closer back into coming into the 17 as well. A potential late change, I don't know too much around that, no inside information there, but just something to monitor. Chanel Harris-Tavita, Lukey Met again in the halves. Love the balance they're playing with as well. There's no 6 or 7 there really. Guys are just floating, which is exciting to watch. Fish and Barney, the scariest propping duo in the comp, with Wade Egan in the 9. Capes and Marata on the edges. Aaron Clark at 13. Walks. And then the 2 young guns, Demi and Leka off the Remu. Would love to see their minutes bump up a little bit too. Saw Demi play the ball speed in the last game of 2.59 seconds. The quickest out of either side on the paddock. That's exactly what we need to unlock Wade and help him with his running game as well. Those quick play the balls. Clearly he's dominant in contact, so we'd love to see him get a bit more time. And then you got Leka, so good on an edge, you can play him through the middle too, and those two have been handfuls in limited minutes. Jacob Laban, 18th man. He's been carving up New South Wales Cup. A lot of people surprised that he's not in the 17 previously, so he's inching his way back closer. Tamari Martin, Freddie Lussick, Bunty, and then of course Rocco Berry for the Roosters. Man, the Warriors curse. I swear to God, every time we play teams, their best players who were out in previous weeks come back against us, and that doesn't change this week. No outs for them, but they're ins. Victor Radley, Spencer Leniu, Lindsay Collins, and then Billy Smith on an extended. The 4-pack is where I think we will dominate them, but those are some massive ins for them, particularly Radley, Spencer Leniu, who will start, and then their usual skipper and Lindsay. Big boost right there. At the back, Teddy, he's always dangerous. Tupou, Mark Nwanga, Netawase, Toya, and Dom Young. That's a deadly back 5. The halves, we can go at them. Sandon Smith, good knock last week, as was Chad, but I think if our forwards can lay a platform and dominate, they're going to really struggle off the back of bad ball. Connor Watson, he'll work hard, of course, always in the 9 jersey. Spencer and Nafahu White, pretty big propping duo. Angus Crichton, Siwa Wong in the second row, and then Rads at 13. Zach Docker-Clay for Ketty, Steep, and Collins. I rate our bench a lot more than them, so I reckon we're going to have better impact. They're a deadly side still, the Roosters. They turned it on last week. The big question for me is, can they put that on in back-to-back weeks? They have a great record at Mount Smart. We haven't bet them there since 2017. I think they've won the last 8 straight against us too. Again, more stats around that in the punting segment shortly. But I just back our boys. Confidence will be high off the back of that, while still knowing that there's still so much room for improvement. I think the Warriors win at home. We get the job done in front of a sold-out crowd, hopefully. You best believe I'll be riding them home in the Spates section, getting stuck into the boys, celebrating whenever we get big wins, and ripping into the Roosters. Can't wait for that. Then following that, Bronx taking on the Cowboys. Geez, Toddy Payton. Squeaky bum time for him. I think the Bronx are going to want to prove a point here too at home at Suncorp. They will be turning it on, that's for sure. Sharkies up against the Bunnies, 8th. The Sharks taking on the Bunnies in 5th. Wouldn't have predicted that. Sharks for me, too strong. Although I don't expect it to be a massive blowout, the Bunnies have shown already in their first 2 performances, they got a bit of grit about them under Wayne, and despite having a decent injury toll, I think they'll still make a good matchup out of this one. Interesting to note, 5 p.m. kickoffs. That's a great time slot there on your Super Saturday. Finns taking on the Tigers. Big performance here needed for the Finns at home. The fact it's at Redcliffe will give them a big boost as well. Plus, they welcome back Kenny Bromwich, Fine Fuiaki, Max Fangai, and Jack Bostock back into their 22, which is a big boost for them. Tigers, Benji, same squad, which is great news for him as well. I just wonder if the Finns at home, almost semi-season on the line, which seems weird to say in just round 3, but they really need to pick up this win, and I'm liking the look of them in this matchup at the moment. Titans versus Knights, some big blows for the Knights. No Kai Pearce-Paul, no Leo Thompson, both of them out. Alofiana Khan-Pereira, he is out as well with a calf strain, so that hurts your try scorers for your Magic Multis. But Tony Francis comes on to the sting. He's a talented footballer, so I still like that 2 jersey in the Titans to deliver us some rewards. Of course, Titans' first home game of the year at Seabus Super Stadium. Shutting down Ponga will be number 1 priority. And I do wonder, this Titans pack, it's big and it's strong. They got a bit bullied last week too, with no Leo Thompson or Kai Pearce-Paul in the Knights pack. Is this the week that the Titans could look to dominate the middle, limit some of KP's effectiveness, and then come away with the win? I think it will be tight. Eels up against the Doggies. As I said in the review, 2 big blows for the Dogs. No Burden, no Kickow. But still, they've got some depth there in those positions. Bailey Hayward comes in the 6 jersey. Wouldn't be surprised, though, to see a bit more Kurt Mann playing in the halves. And then in the second row, Satili Tupanua, who was unreal week 1. Brought him into my fantasy. Got a little burnt last week because he didn't quite get the minutes. But now with Kickow out for 4 to 6. I love that purchase. It looks great for me. For the Eels, they're up shit creek. Dean Hawkins comes in for Ronald Volkman, and there is some sign of relief too on the extended bench. Ryan Madison, Josh Addo-Carr named. Great to see Addo-Carr make his first appearance for the Eels up against this old side. That would be some rugby league poetry. Still, I reckon the Dogs too sharp and that one. And then the last game of the round. This is a bums on seats clash for an 8:15 on your Sunday roast type of stuff. Strap into the couch. This is going to be a good watch. Manly at home, 4 Pines. They always turn it on at home, up against Ricky's Raiders, who are running hot. Some injury worries around Manly. Of course, DCE and Turbo both named. Turbo 50-50 to play, though. Still has to tick some boxes come the back end. And then for the Raiders, they're without Zach Hoskins. Still no Joseph Tapine too, but they welcome back Xavier Savage, who killed us over in Las Vegas as well. This is going to be a heck of a matchup. Raiders never roll over. Ricky will be frothing that they are underdogs too, because they can really spin that narrative that still, despite being undefeated, no one backs them. And then for Manly, Nathan Brown named it on an extended Remu as well. They get back Taukiaho and Kola too. So some big names back on deck. I think all eyes, they will be on Tom Travojevic and whether he is able to lace up. So another hissing round of rugby league. Can't wait to tuck the teeth into it this weekend. Starting tonight, really. Forget the weekend. Thursday night footy. That one is going to be an absolute doozy. Super Rugby, Super Bang Bang. Of course, this competition is all the way back, but we've known that really since round 1. High scoring affairs, close encounters, competition so close, all these teams fighting it out to make playoffs. It's been a bloody entertaining watch. Good to see viewership numbers up on TV and in the stands as well, getting bums on seats at games. Super Rugby Fantasy has certainly helped that too, and shout out to the top teams in the Surly comp. I'll actually have a quick look now at who they are and then run you through the top 3. I actually think I've been going all right too. Not in the top 3, but within touching distance. I've been pretty happy with my team there. I'll just bring up the league. Let me keep stalling as I do that. In terms of your top teams, the Danny Virk Dragons, great name that in first. Red White Dynamite, friend of the show, Zach Clark in second, and Prop It Like It's Hot in third. Shit, there's some good scores being posted up. I'm actually in 16th, so pump my tyres up a little bit too much there. But hey, you get that on the big job. In terms of last week's results, Canes rolled down to the Sistema lunchbox and got the result. Actually met the bloke who used to own Sistema, the Kiwi lad who sold it in Vegas. Shit, he did well out of that company. Great roost too, but that is not the point. Congrats to the Canes. I think they wanted this one more and got the dub in a close encounter. Caleb Tangato, Big Tim Tavatavanawai, still standouts for the Landers. Thought they were unreal. Man of the match for me in this game though. Duplessis Karifi, what a beast. 100 plus contacts measured on his mouth guard according to assistant coach Corey Jane. That is insane. That is a skipper who is willing to put his body on the line, put his head in some dark places. He's just such a menace at ruck time. Unfortunate scenes with that Ngāti Punawai sin bin after getting knocked out too. That whole ruling seems a little bit wild to me, as if the knockout wasn't enough punishment, and I don't think it was sin bin worthy, that tackle either. Great to see Asafo Aumua back from injury. The Canes slowly starting to get some rigs back, and this was a really important win for them to keep touching distance with that top six. Interested to see how Jamie Joseph motivates his lads for this week. A big game up against the Reds, and they're going to want to win that too, just to keep themselves in that top six as well. Chiefs, tight win, a real thriller of a game up against the Blues, Battle of the Bombays. You always know both sides are going to show up for this one. First versus last on the ladder at the time, 32 points to 31. That right there is just a tribute to how close the comp is this year. Went right down to the wire, only the width of the goalpost separating these two teams in the end. Shit, did I feel sorry for young Taeli as well. He looks an unreal talent. NZ Under-20s Player of the Year last year. Not a big body for a second five, but fuck is he hearty. He can ball play, he can kick too. Strong defender. He's the real package. And I reckon he's going to be a mainstay in this Blues and potentially All Blacks team in the future. Certainly one to watch. Heck of a nudge too. I actually thought this was curving round and going to go over the sticks. It didn't turn as much as he would have liked. Looked great off the boot on impact. Unfortunately, hit the upright. Certainly not his fault. He's not your first string goal kicker. And I reckon he had an unreal game. Good to see Vern Cotter getting around him as well. The Blues much improved in this game for me. First half was a bit of a clash of styles. Blues looking to take the Chiefs on up front. Chiefs looking to move the ball a bit more. Rasley pass from Shooter to set up a meaty for Rona as well, the virus. That was a real highlight play, no doubt. He's watched footage of that back-to-back on multiple occasions, probably as he drifts off to sleep in his new Hamilton abode. Second half, things really opened up more. The injection of Stephen Perifeta really did unlock the Blues attack. I thought they played some great footy, as did both teams really. That Chiefs second half score around the 60th minute, I think it was. Counter-ruck, and then they just moved the ball. A great team try. That was unreal scenes. I think Cortez Ratama was the beneficiary in the end to finish her off, but that was great football. Just really enjoyed this game, the physicality, the quality of it, really high standard. Standouts for me for the Chiefs, I thought Tupou Vaa'i, Jerome Brown and Simon Parker were unreal. Simon Parker, he's like a Liam Squire 2.0 almost. Doesn't look like your stereotypical loose forward footballer, but fuck, he just rips in, man. I thought Taukiaho and Cortez Ratama were great off the bench as well. Then D-Mac, he was elite. Shooter, good to see him back in the starting 15 jersey and playing some good code too for the Blues. I thought the young Bucks, Cam Christie, and then the boy I mentioned before, Xavier Taeli, thought he was really good. Great to see them unleashing some young talent as well. Perifeta, game changer off the Remu, and young Corey Evans, really strong at the back as well. So the Chiefs remain at the top. Blues, 3 points outside the 6. They managed to pick up a bonus point, which keeps them in touching distance, and a massive game for them this weekend up against their biggest rivals in the Cranberry Cruisers. And speaking of the Cruisers, they turned it on. Second half, run away from them, running amok, scoring tries galore, 55 points to 33 over the Western Force. Good to see their outside scoring meaties too. They let the Gilbert fly. And geez, those two wingers, they were in potent form. 8 tries between the two of them, with Big Mac, old Macca Springer, scoring 5. That one he scored where he grubbered, ran around the outside off the back of a beautiful Will Jordan pass. Shit, can he play, mate, too, really flexing his full bag. But, man, he was really good. 20 points to 18 at Oranges, and then they just ran away with it. Force missing a fair few names, to be fair. I think they targeted that draw game at home this week, but well done to the Saders. Standouts for them, Macca Springer, Will Jordan, Braden Enor, really strong in the midfield too, and he's an interesting player in a tough situation. He's back after a big injury layoff, 9 All Blacks tests to his name, 27 years of age, off contract this year. Rumours there's some interest in France too. He's a good footballer, can play midfield and wing, and if he can find his full form, then he's no doubt someone Razor probably has a soft spot for as well. So interested to see what he does with his career come contract time at the back end of the year. Was really impressed with Corey Callow as well. Thought he was good in the forward pack. Reds, they pumped the Tars, 35 points to 15 to flex their muscle and move into third. Good to see Jeremiah Murray, Shooter's brother-in-law, Northland winger, score a beautiful meaty for the Reds as well. Kid can play. On to this week, Canes with the bye, so another chance for them to rest some rigs and potentially welcome a few troops back on the other side of it too. So no doubt, Clark Laidlaw happy to have that one. Friday night footy sees Moana take on the Chiefs in Puki. Gutted to see Ardie Savea not lining up, still out with injury. Chiefs rolling out a bloody strong team too. When is this Chiefs side not strong, to be fair? Their depth is unreal. But this backline, Xavier Rowe again gets the start in the 9. D-Mac, Leroy Carter and Amoni Narawa on the wings. Rampling, good to see him get an opportunity to start in the 12. Still no ALB. Of course, Rameka Poihepe out and Quintu Paia off the Rimu. He'll be looking to have a big impact when he comes on. The Virus in 13, and then Sean Stevenson at the back. Cortez again off the bench. Brown, who I pumped up before, off the bench. Josh Jacob, Quintu Paia. Fuck, they are strong. Forward pack stacked as well with guys like O'Neill, Arkoi, Tupovai, Samapeni Finau, Boucher, Jacobson, my lord. Look, I love Moana. I reckon they're my second favourite team for sure, and they're everyone's second favourite. Unreal to see them get that win before the bye, but without Ardie, I just wonder if they're really going to struggle in this one. At Pukekohe though, so hopefully they get a big turnout in the stands. Landers versus Reds. This should be a good game. 4:35 at the lunchbox. No doubt the Dunners students will be out in big numbers. Probably dusty too off the back of old St. Paddy's Day on Monday. So probably on the bend and ready to rip. And Tavatava Nawai on the wing. That's an interesting selection. Moves back onto the sting. Him and Caleb Tangital form a dangerous combo out on the flanks for the Landers. For the Reds, I reckon they've been underestimated here. Talk about it more in the punting segment. Chance for an upset at decent odds. And saying that, Jamie Joseph will have the boys up, sitting in 6th, hanging on to their playoff spot by the skin of their sacks. And you don't want to suffer back-to-back losses at home in a competition like this. So expect them to be fired up. And speaking of fired up, Blues taking on the Satyrs. A historic rivalry right here. 7:05 kickoff at the Garden of Eden. Stephen Petafeta wears the 10 jersey. Plummer shifts to the Rimu, as does Finlay Christie. Welcome back Hoskins Satutu as well, which is a massive boost for them in the forward pack. Still no Ricky Riccatelli, the DJ. Cootie Eklund, though, bloody good player to chuck in the hooking jersey. So, Blues fairly strong, and they'll be wanting to make an impact. Good to see Taeli again in there with Rico Ioane too. Plenty of strike with Mark Talia. And welcome back Caleb Clark onto the wing. That wing matchup is going to be great stuff. Interesting to see Crusaders Shea Fihaki back in there. Macca Springer, 5 meaties, not enough to start. Make of that what you will. Perhaps Razor pulling some strings and making some calls there too. But of course, Sevu Reece, Will Jordan. This is a stacked Satyrs side. Surprised to see them as underdogs, to be fair. The home ground factor probably plays into that. Again, more of it in the punting section. But I don't mind the Satyrs, especially on an alternative line. Hopefully the Blues get up though. Tars Brums in Sydney, bit of an Aussie rivalry. I like the Brumbies there. I think the Tars showed last week and they were pretty woeful. Disappointed with their performance, no doubt, but I think the Brumbies will just be too clinical. Interesting to see Joseph Suaalii in Melbourne for the F1, not watching his team play against the Reds. Does go to show, though, rugby global game, they're already milking it for the dollar. Joseph probably fizzed to be in amongst the rugby scenes, because if he was in an NRL setup still, he probably wouldn't be at the F1 and getting paraded around like that, although the Storm lads were there, so maybe that proves my point to be a complete load of bullshit. And then Force versus Drua. 7:05 kickoff on your Sunday night, rare time slot. I'll be watching the NRL. That clashes, of course, I think with the Manly-Canberra game, so I'll be watching that one. I'd love to see Super Rugby, though, dive into the Sunday time slot, but bring it forward. 2:30, 3 o'clock, Sunday game, New Zealand derby, right before the NRL kicks off. I reckon that's a time slot that is waiting to be dominated, and as a result, they would get great results from it. Not to be, though. I like the Force at home, but I really hope the Drua can pull this off. They're getting into must-win territory, unfortunately for them. And it'll be good to see them bank a win on the road. So Super Rugby, things starting to heat up as we get into that run home. Round 6 this week, out of the 16 rounds, so it's actually not the run home. It just feels like it is. But some teams are in do-or-die situations, which really does add to the momentum of this competition. Blues, shit would they love a win. Landers, shit would they love a win. Drua, they would also love a win too, as would the Force. So it makes for some interesting matchups this week. Get up the Chiefs. Unfortunately, I think it's going to 13 plus against Moana, but hey, let's wait and see. Time to have a punt, of course, courtesy of our great mates at the TAB. We'll start with God's Game Rugby League. Been on a heater with my footy punts lately. If you listen to the Advantage Line, the TAB's NRL podcast, then you could have been jumping on some of those tips. Last week, of course, as well, Suli Talk Sports podcast multi. Did a bit of a Wicked Wingers combo there, which hit. So hopefully can carry that form into my own pod now for the greatest game of all, of course. Thursday night footy tonight, Storm versus Panthers. Storm $1.33, Panthers $3.35. The Storm, they've won 8 of their last 9 against the Panthers at Amy Park. Xavier Coates, he scored 31 tries in 28 games at his home ground. Brian To'o, he scored 9 tries in 12 games against the Storm. And it is the headgeared assassin, the Italian from last year, Jerome Hughes, making his 150th appearance for the lads from Melbourne. My best bets for this one, I like the Storm to win it in a tight one. I think the Panthers will put up a good fight. Interesting too, the total points, the unders screams out here. I think 7 of the last 10 have gone the unders between these two games, and in fact 5 or so of the last 7 have gone under 31.5 total points. It's set here at 45.5. That suggests the unders should be a shoo-in, so keep that in mind. For my same game multi here, I'm going Storm into Coates and Hughes, $5.26. Coates loves scoring at home, no Warbrick on the other sting, so I think they'll favour that side. And then Hughes, that's just a milestone. Chuck in for the Kiwis 7. Silly if you don't. Full Fizz Friday, of course, remember that try scorers code, the first try scorer code, try time, chuck it in your TAB app and place a first try scorer bet on the Warriors Roosters game. If your player doesn't score first, you get your money back up to $20 in bonus cash. I am going RTS and Dommy Young there as a nice little two-way insurance. Of course, I only get bonus cash back for one of them, but I don't mind having a double swing. In terms of your markets for this one, Warriors $1.87, Roosters $1.95. Love to see it. Mentioned before, Roosters, our results against them, the history, the stats, not great. Warriors, we haven't beaten them at Go Media Stadium since 2017. Roosters have won their past 8 straight against us as well, and the margin has been fairly hefty, but hey, fuck it. Stats are made to be broken, and I reckon we break it tomorrow night. Dommy Young, he scored 21 tries in his last 20 games. Chance Nickel-Krogstad, 50th game for the Warriors. Milestone, we will lift for Mr. Safe as houses. My same game multi for this one, I like the Warriors to win, of course. I like Roger to dot, he's in all me multis. And I like Rob Toya as a try scorer for the Roosters. Reckon he's been really dangerous over the last couple of weeks. He's on that less favourable side for us defensively too. So I reckon he's going to have a big performance here and score, but not too big where they get the win. $10.30 return for that. I am certainly jumping on that. Then Broncos versus Cows, second of your Full Fizz Friday. Bronx $1.15 at home. Cowboys $5.60. That's a big up yours from the bookies to the Cowboys right there. Broncos have won their last 4 straight against the Cows. The Cows, though, have won 4 of their last 5 games at Suncorp. They don't mind making the trip from Townsville to the Big Smoke, but as I said, leaky sieve. 78 points have conceded in their opening 2 games. Jesse Arthurs, he scored 5 tries in his last 3 games. Selwyn Cobbo, he's running hot too. 4 in his last 2. For your same game multis here, I reckon a Wicked Wingers there with Cobbo and Arthurs is fairly safe. Then chuck the Broncos in to win. That's pretty missionary though. You're only going to get $2.08. If you chuck one of them in, first, second or third try scorer in this game to juice her up a touch, then that will certainly boost the odds. Actually hit a first, second or third on the weekend, went Montoya into, who was the second player? Can't quite remember. It was in the game before that. Taruva. There we go. Juicy stuff. That's a great option to chuck in just to really boost up the odds. And I'll be doing it again on Montoya this week. Super Saturday, Sharks, Bunnies, first year triple header. Sharks $1.16, favourites at home. Bunnies $5.40. Some big odds there for a Wayne Bennett coach team. The Rabbitohs have only won 1 of their last 6 games though at Shark Park. Ronaldo Mulatalo, who scored 37 tries in 37 games at his home ground. And Sammy Stone Street, one of the great alliteration names. So straight away, he's a threat. 8 tries in his last 4 games. Same game multi here. I'm going Stone Street, AFB and the Sharkies. I reckon Adam's going to have a field day against these Bunnies middle, and I like just Sharks to win in this game. Don't expect it to be a blowout. Bunnies are made of the right stuff this year, but I think they will be too good. Finns Tigers, Finns $1.82, Tigers $2. Dolphins have won 4 of their 6 games played at Redcliffe, where of course this one is being played, and the Tigers, most importantly, they've lost their past 5 straight games at a Queensland venue. Hate travelling out of Sydney. They typically get dicked when they do. The Hammer, he scored 6 tries in 3 games at Redcliffe. Drell Skelton, he scored 6 tries in his last 8 NRL games. The Dolphins looking to avoid an 0-3 start for the first time in their young club's history. So I'm going to back the Finns in here. I like them to get the win. They'll be desperate. They need to dish something up that isn't a bowl of shit. So I reckon they could win it. Tigers, though, don't expect them to roll over, and I also wouldn't be surprised if they win it. It's a bit of a game of fuck it footy, this one. Same game multi, Finns, Isako and the Hammer. Surely Isako doesn't go back-to-back weeks of not scoring. That's paying $4.40. If you chuck the Hammer in first, second or third, that makes it $7.87, which I like too. Titans versus Knights. Titans $2.10, Knights $1.73. Titans have only won 4 of their last 11 at home last year. Knights have won 5 of their last 6 against the Titans. They're aiming for 3 straight wins for the first time to start the season since 2015 as well. I just think, no Kai Pearce-Paul, no Thompson. I like the Titans at home to bounce back. Jojo Fafita, he scored 8 tries in his last 7 games. Lofiana Khan-Pereira not in this week, but I like the other winger, Francis, to .2. So I'm going to go Titans, upset. Do think it'll be close. Same game multi, Greg Marju, Schiller, Francis, all anytime, $5.13, expecting there could be some points in this one. Eels, they suck. Dogs, they're good. Eels $3.10, Doggies $1.38. No kick-out, no burden, but still, I like the Dogs at short odds there. Some interesting stats though. The Eels have won 4 of their last 5 against the Dogs. The Dogs have only won 2 of their last 16 at Combank too. So Serraldo fucking hates that joint, no doubt. The Eels though, they've conceded 88 points in their opening 2 games. They can't tackle. Social distancing on defense. Someone needs to tell them the COVID restrictions are well and truly over. Joshi Adokar loves a bit of gear, and he also likes playing against the Dogs. Scored 8 tries in his last 6 games against them. Of course, his previous club too, so he's one to watch if he comes into this team. Montoya, he scored in his last 4 straight games too. Last 2 at the Wars, first 2 at the Dogs. He's been the first try scorer in his 2 appearances for the Bulldogs too this year. That's paying $6.50 for him to dot first, second or third, a great option to chuck in there too. So for my same game multi, that's what I'm going to do. Dogs into Montoya, first, second or third, and Lomax to dot for this first para try this season. $8.61 rugby league cents. Then Manly versus Raiders surround us out. Seagulls have won 7 of their past 10 against the Raiders. Raiders, though, have won their last 2 straight at 4 Pines. Outsiders here, juicy odds, don't mind it. Tommy Turbo, 15 tries in his last 12 games against the Raiders. He's 50-50 though, so you pencil him in and you bet with caution around that. Jason Saab, the Saab Marine, he's scored a try in his last 5 games at 4 Pines and his last 5 games at any venue. The bloke's flying at the moment. And then Xavier Savage, 6 tries in his last 4 games as well. $1.72 for him. Pretty good value. I like the Raiders on that plus 6.5 line that they're dishing up at the moment. And for my same game multi, I'm going to back them in plus 6.5 purely off Tommy Turbo not playing. That's the thinking I'm going with. And then I'll go Saab and Savage and alliteration, couple wicked wingers, all the omens right there. $4.72 for him. Love that. My try scorer multi for this week, Sully Talk Sports podcast multi, Roger to dot, Adam to dot, Selwyn Cobb & Co. to help himself to some meat as well. $5.75, get around that. Super Rugby mentioned, I've waited for teams to be named to record this, but unfortunately TAB app not refreshed with your try scorer odds. So I'll run you through some players here and then some odds. I don't have those, but you can pick them out yourself. Moana versus the Chiefs. Chiefs heavy favourites here. $1.13. Moana $5.25. Of course, off the back of a win and then a bye. But no Adi Savia. That's the real market mover here. You add into that, the Chiefs aren't mucking around. Strong team, D-Mac and co in the mixer. So I like the Chiefs here. And unfortunately for Moana, who are my second favourite team, I like the Chiefs 13 plus to get the job done as well. For your try scorers, Chiefs, I'm on Sean Stevenson. I'm on D-Mac. I'm on Leroy Carter. Three great options right there. Also, don't mind a live bet on Cortez Ratama once he clocks in. Always get pretty good odds on those live bets for guys off the bench, so keep an eye on that one as well. For Moana, my try scorer pick from them would have to be young Kyron Talmoifalau. That kid is an exciting watch. But yeah, no Artie, no dice for me. Unfortunate scenes for Moana, and I think the Chiefs get it done fairly easily. After that, Landers up against the Reds. Reds, one of the better sides to watch, I reckon, in the competition. They really do throw the ball around. Landers, they'll be stinging off the back of last week's result and looking to bounce back and pick up a dub, no doubt. $1.57 favourites, Reds at $2.30. A little bit surprised to see that, but I certainly do rate it. For the Landers, your try-scoring threats, Tavatava Nawai. Of course, he's out on the wing this week, so he's always a rugby union handful, one-on-one, almost impossible to stop, so he'll be on my slips, as will Caleb Tangito for sure. He's almost a guaranteed bet. Chuck him in your fantasy teams if you don't have him already. You're missing out on points. You're just linking them. So get the big fella in there. I don't mind the Reds on the start. Plus 3.5. They play some good code away from home. Strong Landers team. But I still reckon there's a real upset opportunity here. And Queensland could well come away with the Chockies. Next one, big game, Blues, Satyrs, a real rivalry match. Satyrs heading up to Eden Park where they have a great record historically as well, and they're $1.90 underdogs. The Blues at $1.82. Sternvern rolled a couple of changes. Peter Feta, please add Feta. He has come back in to run the cutter in the 10 jersey, and shit did he look good there second half last week. Evans keeps his spot at the back. Good to see Hoskins Tutu back as well. So a couple big ins there for the mighty Blues. Harry Plummer, the tradie, he moves on to the Rimu, as does Finlay Christie for the Crusaders. Tough times for Macca Springer. Scores 5 tries and then gets demoted to the bench. Shea Fihaki comes back in. For me, this game screams that try bet option. Either team within 7.5 points to get the win. I reckon there's going to be a bee's dick in this one. Also, don't mind an alternative margin. Tease the Satyrs up to plus 6.5. I reckon there's some good value in that as well. Last two games in Aussie Derby, so I won't touch on that too much, but I like the Brums to beat the Tars. And then Force versus Drua. Take the Drua on an alternative line. Teaser out to about 16.5, because I think you can still get some pretty good odds for them around that. I do think the Force potentially too strong at home. They dished up some shit last week, but they did rest a few rigs as well to really target this game. So keep that one in mind as well. Then for your cricket, T20 action tomorrow night. Of course, New Zealand taking on Pakistan. Backing us to win, of course. Really getting behind today's guest and Finn Allen as well. $4.60 for him to be our highest run scorer. I'm taking him over 20.5 total runs at $1.87. 3+6s at $2.65 is also appealing, so I'll be doing the full Finn Friday fill up. Follow me in if you dare. Hopefully haven't jinxed him. Get around it. For a same game multi, Black Caps win. Kyle Jamieson 2+ wickets. Finn Allen 2+6s. $5.83. You beauty. And then UFC fight night, of course, fight morning for us, Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. Carlos Oldberg, the Black Jag, taking on Jan Blachowicz, who's paying $3.40. Carlos at $1.32, despite Jan being the higher ranked fighter. Just bank Oldberg, back the Kiwi, get up the Black Jag, you absolute beauty. Right, weekly wrap, and of course shout out to the Black Caps. A lot of chat about them with our guest today, Finn Allen, but the lads up 2-0. Third T20 game Friday night, tomorrow night at Eden Park. Really looking forward to that one. It'll be a Sky Go operation for me. The old Sky Sport Now app will be up and firing, and I'll be updating people throughout the night in the Spates Clubhouse. But hopefully the lads can get the dub, and that would ensure the series victory as well, which would be unreal scene. Some more chat around the Black Caps and the punting too, because I've cooked up a bit of a multi. Shit is tomorrow night's sporting action good too. Chiefs Moana, Caps versus Pakistan, and then of course Warriors versus Roosters, all kicking off around that same time, 7 to 8 o'clock, which is pretty niggly, but luckily with technology these days we can just fire out the phone and get to streaming. UFC Fight Night, massive fight this weekend. I think about 10:30 a.m. it's scheduled to kick off, get underway. The gloves will be tied up, and Olberg and Jan Blachowicz will be getting into their work. Can't wait for this fight. This is huge for Carlos. Of course, 3rd versus 6th in the light heavyweight division. Jan, he's ranked 3rd, Carlos 6th. But Carlos is the clear betting favourite, so clearly the punters believe he's got the upper hand despite the rankings. His biggest fight as of yet. And this division has been thrown into a little bit of chaos as of late. I don't think anyone saw Pereira losing that title, so now the strap, it's on the move in the light heavyweight division. If Carlos can get a win here, that certainly boosts his credentials to get himself in the mixer for a title fight once this whole chaos has died down, rematches and things like that. You want to chuck yourself up as the next cab in the ranks. So this would be a huge win for him against a highly respected opponent as well. I can't wait to watch this one dusty on the couch on my Sunday morning. Best thing about it too, Fight Night card, don't have to pay for it. You absolute beauty. Speaking of fighting for titles, of course, Joseph Parker, Usyk, he's been ordered by the WBO to fight Parker. He's got 30 days to negotiate a contract and make this happen. Otherwise, he could just forfeit his belts and he'll get fined. And a lot of people are saying that's the option it might go down because, of course, Usyk, he's already quite far along his negotiations with Dan Dubois to fight him and try and unify those titles. But to me, he doesn't seem like the type of bloke that would run away from a challenge too. Hopefully, he fights Parker, then Dubois becomes his last ever fight before he retires. And saying that, Parker, a scary fight for him, and there's every chance he could lose this strap. But I'm stoked for Joe. Just a few years ago, people were calling for him to retire. Now he's gone on this unreal 3 or 4 fight streak ever since moving over to Ireland, his training camp over there and working with the Fury team. He's a whole new fighter. He looks in unreal shape. The results are backing it up, and I'd love to see him get a crack at the big fella in what would probably be the biggest fight in New Zealand boxing history. Shit, does he deserve it too, and it's cool to see the other fighters and experts in the boxing world say Joe is the right guy to get the crack. So hopefully that takes place. AFC, shout out to them. Unfortunate 2-2 draw with the Mariners. Still top of the league though, 4 points clear of Western United with only 5 rounds to go before finals get underway. They're taking on the Raw in Brizzy, I think, Sunday 7 p.m. this weekend. They're running second to last, so hopefully it's a good win on the road for the boys and we can get back in the winner's circle, keep this momentum streak going. Like I said before, only 5 rounds to go. I think top 2 teams get the first week off of playoffs. They automatically advance to the semi-finals round in year 1. To secure that would be a fucking huge lift. So let's hope it plays out that way. F1, chaos in Melbourne last weekend. Unfortunate for our boy, of course, Liam Lawson. A tough debut for the bloke. The rain caused chaos, and after a few tough results in the practice rounds, he decided to roll the dice late, didn't change the tyres, wanted to pick up some extra speed and paid the price. So unfortunate scenes there. Shout out to Lando Norris, who got the dub. Big McLaren fan after Drive to Survive, so if Liam's not going to win races, then I'm all aboard Team McLaren. Of course, Max Verstappen in 2nd, George Russell in 3rd, rounding out the podium too. The best thing about this, though, short turnaround. I think they're in China this weekend, so hopefully Liam can get back on the horse and get himself into the mixer again to score some points for his team. It's pretty cutthroat stuff, so if you have back-to-back or 3 tough results in a row, then already chat will be around whether he should have got that seat or not. Just on Liam Lawson too, saw a social clip going around, I think Red Bull posted it themselves, of him and Max Verstappen. They were guessing the NRL team's logos. I was fucking blown away at how little Lawson knew. He got the Storm wrong, he got the Chooks wrong. Basically, the only team he got right was the Warriors. Surely you can't grow up in New Zealand and not be able to identify NRL teams. It does just go to show, though, how locked in this kid's been in the old go-karting and F1 scene for so long. He was purely oblivious. I think Max Verstappen almost did as well as him, which, look, side note, a little bit off topic, but I found it bloody interesting. The NBA, that's marching towards the playoffs as well, really starting to heat up now. All teams really in the high 60s gameplay. They're chasing that 82 number, so it is nearing close. The Thunder still look the team to beat. Well and truly, they got a hissing record at the moment. So do the Cavs, who I think actually have a slightly better record. Yeah, there's one win difference in it. Cavs, though, still the surprise package of the year. I thought they'd be good. I didn't expect them to be this good, though. Celtics in second in the East, Knicks in third, Pacers in fourth. Knicks doing well without Brunson to still hang on there. Bucks and Pistons round out the six there. Hawks and Magic 7 and 8, and then you play in teams Bulls and Heat at the moment. Sixers, they're fucked. Paul George having surgery and be shut down for the rest of the year. If you grab Quentin Grimes in your fantasy leagues, shit, he's proved to be a handy, nice pickup right there. Western Conference, as I said before, Thunder humming, Nuggets looking good too. Rockets and Lakers tied in third and fourth. Good to see the Lake Show picking up back-to-back dubs too. And actually on that, my basketball experience at the Lakers, fuck, that was unreal. Of course, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago now, but I haven't had a chance to talk about it. The old travel got the better of me. No pod last week. So a quick little rundown. Lakers Knicks at the Crypto. Literally bucket list for me. If you listen regularly, you know LeBron James, my GOAT, probably my favorite athlete in the world. If I could sit down and have dinner with anyone, it would be LeBron James. So just to be in the same building as him was unreal, let alone within 5 to 10 meters of him regularly throughout this game. Did a bit of research before we bought tickets, found out what tunnel the Lakers ran out from, then managed to convince the wife to have both a Christmas and birthday present combined and splash out for these tickets. Which, to be fair, she didn't oppose it at all because she knows how much it means to me. Fuck, we paid some coin, but in all fairness, I reckon it was 100% worth it. Paid about $3,000 for tickets, and I reckon for how close we were to the action and the experience we got, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Just happened that we got the best fucking game too. Went to overtime, Lakers with a late dub, Brunson with a huge injury, so it had the drama. Had a few people message me as well. They could see me and Kim as Brunson was limping off the court, so that's great. Got a bit of screen time, ended up on the Jumbotron. Was up on there for about 10 seconds too, so surely they could spot a foreigner. But it was just unreal. You're so close to the action. Floyd Mayweather was literally 10 meters away from us. Rob Pelinka, 5 meters away from us. I felt like a fucking celebrity. Little did they know, just some bloke from Kumu. Unreal scenes. And then, of course, every time the Lakers ran out, before the game, halftime, full time, you're within touching distance of LeBron James. Every time out, every time he sat on the bench, he was just right in front of your eyes, and it was really interesting to watch him, eh? He kind of just sits there in his own world, closes his eyes a lot, lots of deep breathing. It's almost like he's in a trance state of mind. He's just that locked in. He's fucking impressive. All of them are, to be fair. They're all giants. Luka had an unreal game too. He was hitting threes. Friendly bloke too. He hung around a bit after the game. Didn't manage to have a conversation with him, but just got some good footage of being that close to him. Bronny James warmed the Remu. He actually checked in on the night before, the 2 nights before the game we went to there, Pals game. That was cool to watch too. Got to see the full LeBron and Bronny experience, albeit from some cheaper seats. Zion ran amok too. He's a fucking huge human being. But overall, that game, that night, it just ticked every box. It was beyond my wildest imagination. LeBron, I swear to God, I don't know if he has the hots for my wife or could just notice me and her just staring at him mesmerized, but I reckon we locked eyes about 10 plus times too, so maybe the feeling's mutual, and he's a big fan of Surly Talk Sports. Hey, I've seen crazier things happen in this world, but that was fucking unreal. Just wanted to run you through that and have a little bit of a walk down memory lane because I'm still fizzing from it. But yeah, Lakers 2 wins on the trot, looking sharp. Grizzlies in 5th, Warriors in 6th. They've been unreal since they added Jimmy Buckets. Steph Curry back to his menacing best. T-Wolves in 7th, Clips in 8th, and then the Kings and the Mavs rounding out your play-in teams with the Suns hot on the Mavs' heel. Mavericks literally have no one. They're talking about having to possibly default games because they can't put out enough players on the roster. So surely the Suns catch them. They're pretty fucking shit if they don't. But that's your weekly wrap. More sporting action to tuck into this week, though. Fizzing for it. So can't wait to talk about all that again on next week's pod. Right, Q&A before we call her a day. Send ya on your merry way. Remember to upload the story and the questions flooded in too, so we'll tick some boxes and get through a few of those. First one comes through from Riley Hamilton, who says, how good was the Spates Clubhouse last Friday? Yeah, great to see Riley in there. Him and his mate absolutely running amok. His mate, one of the great New Zealanders, managed to get through a bit of a Haikatsu pyramid himself, so fair to say he was feeling the effects of ripping into a few Waitakere daiquiris, but glad to see a few familiar faces in there. Good to see you enjoyed it, Riley there, horse. Hopefully catch you back in that section for many more of the games at Mount Smart, and see a few more of you out there too. I've been pushing it hard in the pod this week. She's got a few listens, but it is a bloody grouse spot, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed if you do splash out and buy yourself some tickets. The next ones come through from Nick Nath, who says Auckland AFC might be the first team to bring a title to Mount Smart before the Warriors. Yep, genuine possibility, because I think the AFC are going to win it this year. The Warriors are going to too, but their season will finish before ours, so that could well be the way it plays out. I would be gutted. Of course, I always wanted the Warriors to be the first team to bring us glory at the Fortress, but if AFC get it, I'll still be stoked because they're my side as well. Hopefully, both lads can pull off the double, fill up the trophy cabinet at the greatest stadium in the world. That would be unreal scenes. His next question was Kyle Preston, All Blacks call-up. Yeah, for me, he's right in the mixer, and he's amongst this group of lads which just continues to grow each week of players really putting their hand up. I still think at the top of the pecking order is Big Tim Tavatavanawa, and I've been singing his praises, calling him an All Black bolter for about a year now. Would love to see that happen. Now he ticks that versatility box. He's basically another loose forward in the midfield and on the wing. Kicking game too, and leadership. I reckon he must be so close to Razor's selections. Another player who's been standing out for me, Kyron Taumoefalau. I don't think he will make the All Blacks, but he and Caleb Tangito, two wingers that are really putting their hands up. In fact, I think Taumoefalau can't because he's played for Tonga already. Maybe he's one to watch in the future, although I reckon the Warriors should chuck the checkbook at him. So Tangito, more likely. He's got to be around the fringes too. We're stacked in that position, so it's unfortunate for him. Guys like Sevu Reece, Macca Springer on the weekend just showing that they could be in the mixer as well. But Caleb making every hat a winner down there at the moment, moved to the Landers for more minutes and opportunities, and he has really turned it on. So there is about a handful of guys putting their hand up for selection at the moment, and Kyle Preston is certainly one of them. People thought he was going to be fighting it out with Mitch Drummond for a bench spot. Now he's got the start regularly. Full-time roofer, just making the most of his opportunities. What an absolute legend of a bloke. Next question, does Rocco come into the 17 or Laban? And that's from Luke Adams. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if either of them do. Touched on it in the league segment before, both ripping up at New South Wales Cup. Was good to see Rocco get through 80 minutes on the weekend. Shout out to Morgan Harper too. He looks pretty sharp out there on the wing. He could prove to be a handy pickup. You never quite know, just depth-wise anyway. But Rocco looking great on the weekend, as was Laban. Both of them tearing it up. They're certainly both first-grade quality, and they've always played well for the Warriors whenever given cracks there. When you look across this New South Wales Cup side, there's a handful of guys that are ready to go right now. Tamaire, Tanner Boyd, Bunty, Tommy Ale. Geez, we're stacked in that team, which is just a reflection on the club and how much depth we have in the ranks at the moment. How good is it? Next one, Evan Jack Gardner. How do we get access into the Spates tent for home games? Ticketmaster, that is the place to get it. Just like you buy the rest of your tickets, head along there, go to the best seats section or the best tickets, one of the two, filter them by that. It'll be right up the top. A little bit more expensive than your standard seats, but food's included. You get some beer promos. You get a TAB bonus cash voucher as well, a promo around that, plus the best seats in the house. I reckon it's pretty good value once you weigh it all out, and it's only going to improve as the season goes on and we work things out. Again, Dallin in there this week, a chance to take a photo with the flying mullet. Some people would pay the money of admission alone just to pull that one off. Next one, Stephen Kelly says, how do you see the Knights spine looking next year? I could see Ponga at 7, Brown at 6 and Sharp at 1. I don't mind that, although I like what they're doing at the moment, the Knights, with Ponga, defending him at the back but moving him into 7 from tackles 4 to the last, just to really get his playmaking ability and creativity going, get him touching the ball as much as he can in attacking zones, and then not giving him that shit work that he doesn't need to make, the unnecessary contact of having to defend at half. So I reckon you keep Ponga at the back, but you play him as a 7. Dylan Brown probably at 7, Fletcher Sharp at 6 is the way to go. And then once Ponga comes up, he plays that 7 role, and then you got Brown and Sharp kind of just floating around a bit. Look, it's going to take a bit of working out, but I think it's a good problem for the Knights to have in terms of attacking options. That makes them a lot more deadly. Adam O'Brien, he seems to have released the shackles a little bit this year, and he's allowing them to play a bit more of an expansive football, which I think is working out, and I'm keen to see how they play it next year as well. Next one, how would NRL and New Zealand look different if the Warriors won premierships? Shit, I think you're seeing at the moment the impact the NRL is having over here. Viewership is up, it's massive participation, just fans of the game going skyrocketing through the roof off the back of how popular the NRL is at the moment and also how popular the Warriors are. You chuck a couple premierships into the mixer and that's only going to grow even more. More and more we're seeing it now. Rugby lads making their transition, guys leaving high school, some of the top rugby players in New Zealand transitioning across to the Warriors Pathways program too. That will only grow more and more off the back of success and premierships. The Warriors would really become a powerhouse. Then I reckon the NRL would look to introduce a second team here. Be massive for rugby league in New Zealand. So let's hope that plays out very, very shortly. Next one, Chris Hollins, Ben Searle for Harbour head coach in 2025. Yeah, look, won't be throwing my hat in the ring to coach the lads, but interesting, all the coaching staff quit. Harbour promoting it now. They're advertising on Seek, so if you like your chances of becoming an NPC head coach, feel free to chuck your name in the ring, but interested to see who they grab. They're going to want to get someone pretty quick, smart as well, with that season rapidly approaching. Speaking of coaching, Henry Lee says, is Rahul Das the greatest ever cross-code coach? World class for Northcote and for the Touch Blacks. Shit, he's got to be right up there. One of the great coaches, learnt a shit ton from him, old Dr. Das. He's also a doctor, a surgeon, so he's a bloody smart operator. Touch Blacks have got their Trans-Tasman tournament coming up against Australia, so he's going to miss a few weeks in April for the Mighty Coat, but then he'll be back to his main priority, which is the Mighty Maroon and Gold. Excited to have him at the helm again this year, and he's someone I reckon, assistant coach role for NPC, that is just around the corner for him, so hopefully he applies for that. Then Taylor CG says, can we get a shout out for Northcote Prem's Insta? Make sure everyone follows. Yeah, bit of an unofficial, official Prem's page, which Taylor has sparked up himself, making some good content, photos, video, the works. It's only going to ramp up in the future too. So if you love your grassroots code, follow Northcote Prems on Instagram. We really appreciate it. So those are your questions for this week. Look forward to tucking into more again on next week's show. Big pod, a long one. Appreciate your ears. Cheers for tuning in. A massive lineup of sporting action this weekend. Kicking off tonight with the footy and then that triple header tomorrow night. Moana Chiefs, Black Caps Pakistan, Warriors versus Roosters. Strap yourself in. Fire up your streaming devices. Punt on the TAB responsibly but with confidence. There's some great markets out there to hopefully find you some winners, and hopefully I helped you out in the punting section as well, steered you into some green ticks on bet slips. Go well, enjoy your weekend. If you're playing grassroots sports, go well and play my first preseason game this weekend for the Mighty Coat, so looking forward to that. Catch you back here, same time, same place next week. Up the Mighty Waz, baby. Big fizz.